When I was a boy, my father died. My mother was very sad. She cried every day. She sat by the window and looked outside for hours. She did not talk much, and she did not smile. The house was quiet. It did not feel like home anymore. I missed my father's voice. I missed his laugh. I missed the way he carried me on his shoulders. But he was gone, and nothing could bring him back. I felt alone, even when my mother was near me. She was there, but it felt like she was far away. After 1 year, my mother met a new man. His name was John. He was tall and strong. He had big hands and a deep voice. He did not smile a lot, and he did not talk much. He always looked serious. His steps were heavy, and his face was hard. When he came to our house, I watched him from the corner of the room. I did not like him. I did not want him to sit in my father's chair. I did not want him to eat at our table. I wanted my father back, but that was not possible. My mother seemed happy with John, but I was not. John married my mother, and he moved into our house. Everything changed. He took my father's place. He sat in my father's chair. He ate my father's food. He slept in my father's bed. I watched him, and my heart felt heavy. I did not speak to him much. He did not speak to me much either. He left early in the morning for work and came home late at night. He ate dinner quietly. Then he went to bed. He did not ask me about my day. He did not laugh at my jokes. He did not play with me. I thought he did not like me. But I did not care, because I did not like him either. One day, my mother got sick. She had a fever. She stayed in bed all day. She did not cook. She did not clean. She did not smile. I was worried, but I did not know what to do. I sat by her bed, but she was too tired to talk to me. Then I saw John. He brought her water. He gave her medicine. He made soup and fed her with a spoon. He sat next to her bed and looked worried. He stayed up all night, watching her. He did not leave her side. I had never seen him like this before. I started to wonder if maybe I was wrong about him. That night, I heard noise from the kitchen. I walked in and saw John. He was cooking. I had never seen him cook before. He made food for me. He put the food on the table and said, "Eat." I was surprised. The food was warm. It was good. I wanted to say thank you, but I didn't. I just ate quietly. He sat across from me, watching. He did not say anything else. I went to bed, but I could not sleep. I thought about John. He was not my father. He would never be my father. But maybe he was not as bad as I thought. Maybe he cared more than I knew. But I was still not sure. I still missed my father. I still felt angry. I still did not want a new father. I only wanted my old father back. The next morning, my mother felt a little better. She sat up in bed and smiled at me. "Did you eat last night?" she asked. I nodded, but I did not tell her that John had made the food. She did not know. She did not see him in the kitchen. I wanted to tell her, but the words did not come out. I was still confused. I did not know what to think about John. John left early for work as always. He did not say anything to me. I did not say anything to him. But before he left, he went to my mother's room. He touched her forehead and asked if she was okay. She smiled at him and said, "I am better, thanks to you." Her voice was soft. I watched from the door. I had never seen my mother look at him like that before. She looked happy. That day, I stayed home from school to help my mother. I brought her water and gave her her medicine. I sat with her and told her stories. She smiled and laughed a little. It felt good to see her happy. It reminded me of the old days, before John came. But I knew things were different now. Nothing could go back to the way it was. In the evening, John came home. He looked tired. His clothes were dirty. His hands were rough. He put down his bag and washed his face. Then he went to my mother's room. He asked her how she felt. She smiled at him and said, "Much better." He nodded and left the room. He did not smile, but I saw something in his eyes. He was relieved. He was worried about her. I had never noticed before, but now I did. After dinner, I sat in the living room. I looked at John. He was fixing something on the table. A broken chair. He worked quietly. His hands moved fast. I wanted to ask him something, but I was not sure what to say. I wanted to know more about him. Why did he marry my mother? Did he love her? Did he care about me? But I stayed quiet. I just watched. That night, I went to bed early. But I could not sleep. I thought about John. Maybe he was not a bad man. Maybe he was just different from my father. My father used to laugh and play. John was quiet and serious. But maybe that did not mean he was unkind. Maybe I needed to look at him in a different way. But I was still not ready. Not yet. The days passed, and my mother got better. She started cooking again. She smiled more. The house felt warm again. But something was different. I started to see John in a new way. I watched him more. I noticed things I had not noticed before. He worked hard every day. His hands were rough. His face was tired. But he never complained. One evening, I was sitting at the table, doing my schoolwork. John was fixing a broken lamp. The room was quiet. I wanted to ask him something, but I was not sure how. I looked at him for a long time. Finally, I spoke. "Where did you learn to fix things?" My voice was small. I did not expect an answer. John looked at me. He seemed surprised. He put down his tools and wiped his hands. "My father taught me," he said. His voice was deep and quiet. He did not say more. But for the first time, I felt like I knew something about him. He had a father too. He had a life before he met my mother. After that night, things started to change. John and I still did not talk much, but I felt less afraid of him. He was still serious, but I saw kindness in his actions. He always made sure my mother had what she needed. He always checked the doors at night to keep us safe. He always woke up early to go to work. One day, I saw him working in the yard. He was cutting wood. His hands were strong, and sweat covered his face. He looked tired. I stood there for a long time, watching. Then, without thinking, I walked over. "Can I help?" I asked. The words felt strange in my mouth. I had never asked him that before. John looked at me. He did not smile. But he handed me a small piece of wood. "Hold this," he said. I took it. My hands felt small compared to his. We worked in silence. The sun was hot, and the wood was heavy. But for the first time, we were doing something together. It felt different. It felt good. That night, my mother smiled at me. "You helped John today," she said. Her eyes were warm. "That was kind of you." I did not know what to say. I just nodded. I thought about John. Maybe he was not trying to take my father's place. Maybe he was just trying to be part of our family. I still missed my father, but for the first time, I wondered if there was room in my life for someone else too. After that day, things started to change between John and me. We did not talk much, but we worked together sometimes. When something was broken, I helped him fix it. When he cut wood, I carried the small pieces. We did not laugh or joke, but we did not feel like strangers anymore. I still missed my father, but my anger toward John started to fade. One evening, my mother made a big dinner. She cooked my favorite meal. We all sat at the table together. For the first time, it did not feel strange. I watched John as he ate. He was always quiet, always serious, but that night, he looked different. He looked calm. My mother talked about her day, and John listened. I listened too. It felt normal. It felt like a family. After dinner, I went outside. The air was cool, and the sky was full of stars. I sat on the steps, thinking. A few minutes later, John came out too. He stood beside me, looking up at the sky. We sat in silence for a long time. Then, he spoke. "Your father was a good man," he said. His voice was quiet but strong. I turned to him, surprised. He had never talked about my father before. I did not know what to say. My heart felt heavy. "You knew him?" I asked. My voice was small. I was afraid of the answer. John nodded. "Yes," he said. "We worked together a long time ago." He paused for a moment. "He loved you very much." Hearing those words made my chest tight. I swallowed hard. I looked at John, really looked at him. For the first time, I saw something different in his face. He was not my father, but he was not my enemy either. He was just a man who had come into our lives, trying to find his place. That night, I thought a lot about John's words. I thought about my father. I thought about my mother. I thought about myself. Maybe I had been wrong about John from the beginning. Maybe he was not trying to replace my father. Maybe he was just trying to take care of us in his own way. The next morning, I woke up early. John was already outside, working. I hesitated for a moment, then I stepped out and walked toward him. "What are you doing?" I asked. My voice was louder this time, stronger. John looked at me. He wiped the sweat from his forehead. "Fixing the fence," he said. I nodded. Then, without thinking, I picked up a hammer and stood beside him. "I'll help," I said. And for the first time, John smiled. It was small, but it was real. The days passed, and I began to see John in a new way. He was always busy, always working, always fixing something. He never asked for thanks, and he never spoke much, but he was always there. When my mother was tired, he quietly took care of things. If something in the house broke, he repaired it without waiting to be asked. He never tried to take my father's place, but in his own way, he was making sure we were okay. His kindness was not loud, but it was steady, and I started to notice it more and more. One evening, I sat outside watching the sky turn orange and pink as the sun went down. The air was cool, and the wind was soft. I saw John in the yard, sharpening his tools. The sound of metal against stone was steady and calm. I hesitated for a moment, then got up and walked over to him. He looked up but didn't say anything. He just waited, letting me speak first. I watched his hands move as he worked. They were rough, strong, and covered in small cuts. "Were you always good at fixing things?" I asked. My voice felt more natural this time, not forced or nervous like before. He nodded slowly. "I learned when I was young," he said. "My father taught me." His voice was quiet, but there was something in it that caught my attention. I had never thought about John as a boy before. I had never imagined him learning things from his own father, just like I had learned from mine. For the first time, I wondered what his life had been like before he met my mother. Had he always been this serious? Had he always been so quiet? I wanted to ask, but I didn't know how. That night, we sat at the dinner table together. My mother smiled as she looked at us. "You two have been talking more," she said. Her voice was warm. I didn't say anything, but I knew she was right. Something was changing, slowly but surely. After dinner, I heard John fixing something in the other room. I stood by the door, watching him work. He didn't see me, but I stayed there for a long time. I wanted to say something to thank him, maybe, but the words weren't ready yet. Still, I didn't walk away. And for the first time, I felt like I belonged in the same space as him, like we were no longer strangers living under the same roof. The next morning, John left for work as usual, but before he stepped out the door, he turned to me for a brief moment. "Take care of your mother," he said. His voice was firm, but there was something gentle in it too. I nodded, and for the first time, it didn't feel strange. It felt right. The weeks passed, and things between John and me started to feel different. We didn't talk much, but we spent more time together. We worked on the house, fixed things, and sometimes just sat in the yard. It wasn't always easy, but I began to see him in a new way. He wasn't trying to replace my father, but he was still there for us. He showed kindness in his own way. I started to respect him more. One evening, I went outside for some fresh air. The sky was dark, and the stars shined brightly. John was sitting on the steps, just looking up at the sky. I sat next to him, and for a while, we didn't say anything. It was peaceful. After a long silence, John spoke softly. "You're growing up." His words were simple, but I felt they meant a lot. It made me realize that John had been watching me all this time, seeing the changes I was going through. I thought about how much had changed. A few months ago, I had not wanted anything to do with him. I had seen him as an outsider. But now, I was starting to see him as part of my life. We had learned how to share the same space, how to be around each other without feeling awkward. It wasn't perfect, but it was real. And that was enough. Later that night, as I went to bed, I thought about my family. I thought about my mother, about John, and about me. I had always missed my father, but now I felt like there was a place for John in my life. He didn't try to take my father's place, but he had become someone important to me. He cared for us. And that was something I had never fully understood until now. The next morning, when John left for work, he turned to me before going out the door. He gave me a brief smile and said, "Take care of your mother today, all right?" His voice was calm but firm. I nodded. For the first time, it didn't feel strange to hear him say that. It felt like I had finally found my place in this new life, and maybe, just maybe, so had he.